Okay, so let's begin by finding a comfortable seat on your yoga mat. In yoga, this is called an asana, which literally means a meditation cushion or seat. And what we're invited to do is to meditate throughout the entire practice. And what meditation really is an opening up to our current experience. Letting go of the resistance that we tend to unconsciously create. And if we follow yoga to its logical conclusion, if we follow the path all the way, then sooner or later we realize that we only create suffering by resisting what is. Now, most of us resist what is reflexively. It's not a conscious choice on our part. We don't even realize we're doing it. And we tend to do it in many subtle ways, with thoughts, with emotions, and with our bodies. And so again, this is a journey. It's a unfolding for most people, that as they explore this, they eventually realize or come to that conclusion on their own. Me saying it isn't going to be enough. Even if you believe me, you will still find yourself in resistance at times, and you will feel that letting go of that resistance is dangerous, unsafe, not acceptable. So in today's practice, I'm just going to invite you to notice any subtle ways, whether it's a thought, a feeling, or physically the way that you tense or hold your body as you do a posture, just to notice any resistance that is coming up. And to the amount that you feel that it's safe, I'll invite you to let go of that resistance and explore for yourself. See if that's true for you, that as you let go of the resistance, your experience of that situation begins to shift and change. And there is a lessening or maybe even a complete disappearance of suffering. Pain or discomfort may still be present. These are just a part of life. We cannot eliminate pain and discomfort. There will be uncomfortable or difficult situations as long as we are alive. This is unavoidable. But what teachings like Buddhism and yoga tell us is it's possible to live without suffering. Not discomfort, not pain, but suffering. We can live our life in joy and peace without suffering. This is what's on offer with yoga. And we're the only ones that can do that. No one can teach us that. They can only point the way. So just noticing inside your heart, your mind, your breath, your body. And if you notice any tension, any resistance, choosing to perhaps let that go. And then we'll bring our attention to our breathing. We'll begin to deepen our breathing. Inhale, fill belly, ribs, upper chest. Exhale, reverse that. Upper chest, ribs, and belly. Pull in toward the spine. Breathing in and out very deeply and very fully, but without bringing in strain, tension, resistance. Using the breath in exactly the opposite way to relax and release tension. The breath is a very powerful tool for recognizing where we're holding on or tensing, especially physically. It can really show us. Once you've established this 3-part breathing, begin to create a soft ocean or hissing sound at the back of your throat, like you're fogging a mirror but with your mouth closed. The first technique is called Dirga. The second, Ujjayi. Our next exhale, let's come forward into a tabletop position. We continue with the breathing techniques, but now add some simple movement. Inhale, tailbone lifts, belly drops, crown of the head up. Exhale, tuck tailbone, round the back, crown of the head down. Good. Then let's come back to neutral. We're going to take the knees, join them together, take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, drop the hips to one side as you look over the opposite shoulder. Inhale to center, exhale to the other side. Good. Let's come back to center. Take the knees hip distance again. Bring the hands together. And then we inhale, right arm up, looking up. Exhale that hand down. Inhale, left side. And moving side to side. Twisting the spine gently. Now these warm-ups can be very gentle. They do not need to be very intense. You don't have to go to your limit. Just need to feel a little stretch as you do them. Okay, and then coming back to neutral. We tuck the toes, lift the hips, and come up and back into our first down dog. And we will walk the dog here. Once you've stretched out your toes, ankles, knees, hips, and legs a bit, come into your full downward dog. Hands shoulder width, fingers spread wide, index fingers parallel, the pads under the knuckles firmly planted in the ground, the chest actively drawing toward the toes, the feet hip distance, heels behind the toes reaching toward the ground.
For our next exhale, we'll walk our feet toward the hands, coming into a ragdoll. Grabbing the opposite elbow, nodding, shaking the head, bending the knees, swaying the hips. And then with everything relaxed, we inhale and gradually roll up to standing, stacking ears, shoulders, hips, knees, and heels. Let's begin with a standing back bend as we usually do. With the feet touching, we inhale, arms up, touch palms, and lengthen from the pubic bone through the chin if possible. Inhaling through center. As we exhale, we come into forward fold, Uttanasana. Placing the palms flat and bending the knees as much as necessary. And then with the inhale, we come to fingertips or take hands to shins for Ardha Uttanasana. With the exhale, planting the hands and stepping to the top of a push-up. Aligning ears, shoulders, hips, knees, and heels with the feet hip distance and the wrists directly below the shoulders. Let's take a deep breath, and as we exhale, we'll drop the knees and come down halfway, taking a few breaths here. And then as we exhale, lowering the rest of the way down, bringing the feet together and pressing the top of the feet into the mat. Inhaling and pressing into the palms, lifting the head, neck, and chest for Cobra. With the exhale, lowering back down, pressing back to tabletop, and then to downward facing dog. From downward dog, we'll inhale to the toes, and as we exhale, come to the front edge of our mat. We inhale back to standing back bend once again. And then this time, grabbing the right wrist with the left hand, we exhale, let the hips go to the right as we pull and lengthen the entire right side of our body, moving to the left. So inhale back to center, and we'll switch wrists as we exhale over to the other side. This is half moon or Ardha Chandrasana. So inhale back to center, and as we exhale, we release into forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhaling to Ardha Uttanasana or half lift. And then we exhale again to the top of a push-up, taking a breath or two there. Now, you may want to drop your knees throughout the class, and that depends a lot on your ability to keep the proper form when doing push-ups. The arms, we want to bend them regardless. So not bending them and just flopping into the up dog is not really an option. It doesn't really do anything for you in terms of the mechanics of what a push-up is supposed to do. So make a wise choice whether it's appropriate for you to have your knees up or down. And then very important, on the exhale, come down halfway, feel the elbows hug your ribs. And then this time, inhale, straighten arms and legs if you can. The knees are actually off the ground. This is called up dog. And if you want your knees down, just repeat the last back bend, which was Cobra. So you exhale, pull both feet in and draw the hips up and back for a downward facing dog. Now inhaling to the toes, look between the hands, and as you exhale, step, jump, or float to the front edge of your mat. Inhale up to standing back bend. Exhale to half moon. Inhale through center. Exhale to the other side. Inhale to center, and exhale, sit back in an imaginary seat for chair pose. Drop the hips until you feel them working. Keep those arms up and back, and try and relax your face, your jaw, your heart, and your mind. Again, resisting experience creates suffering. Allowing experience, even intense experience like this, is what really allows us to experience the joy of being alive. Let's take a nice full breath in, and as we exhale, we release into forward fold. Inhaling to half lift pose, and if you're able to, exhale right to the bottom of your push-up. Inhale for up dog, or again you can repeat cobra, and then exhale, do a push-up on your way out. Otherwise, use tabletop or go straight back to downward dog to transition. Okay, in our down dog, let's bring feet to touch, and we'll inhale the right leg up and back. This is called three-legged dog pose. I'd like the foot flex, the toes, knee, and hip pointing straight down. The leg straight and lifted without lifting my right hip. From here, we'll take a nice deep breath, and as we exhale, lunge. Dropping the back knee down, rocking the hips forward as much as possible, and placing the right heel basically below the right knee. As I inhale, raise my torso up for Vinyasa. The primary stretch is felt at the front of my left hip. Let's take a nice deep breath in, and we exhale to the bottom of our push-up, making your way back to downward facing dog. In downward dog, we will bring the feet to touch, and we'll inhale the left leg up and back. Three-legged dog pose. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, lunge, and then inhale to low lunge pose, Vinyasa. Let's take a full breath in, and we exhale, bottom of the push-up, making your way back to downward facing dog. From downward dog, we'll take a nice deep breath, and as we exhale, come into a tabletop position, so hands and knees. We'll now take a look at a core strengthening and back strengthening posture called the bird dog. We start with a very simple variation. As we inhale, I bring the right leg behind me, toes touching the ground. Now the key is to bring the leg back without moving the hip up or down, which is a little harder than it sounds. Exhale, we'll bring that knee back in, and inhale, bring the opposite leg out. Exhale, and inhale other side. Just continue with your breath. Now as you do this, I'd like you to imagine or picture that you have a cup of tea resting on your pelvis. So right here, there's a little cup of tea resting. And if you lift or lower your hips, the tea is going to spill onto your back. And what you're trying to do with this exercise is minimize the amount of tea that spills. You might not be able to eliminate all the movement, but hopefully you can eliminate a lot of it. It is this elimination of the movement of the hips that actually really helps to strengthen the core. So you will naturally engage these muscles around the core to create that stabilization. Those are the muscles that create that stabilization, okay? All right, we'll finish up with the left leg behind us. And then you can either do a vinyasa or you can go straight back to downward dog. The choice is really up to you. From here, we'll inhale to the toes, and as we exhale, make our way to the front edge of the mat. Let's inhale all the way up to standing, and we'll exhale our hands to the hips. Let's take a look at Tittibhasana Padangusthasana preparation pose. So this is a balance and a stretch for the hamstrings and extensor muscles. Starting with your feet together, shift the weight over to your left foot and bend your right knee. Pull the leg up and either hold underneath the knee or hold the shin bone. Now the first thing you'd like to master here, if you haven't already, is your balance. And a few things to help you with your balance are, if you are on a squishy mat, you maybe just step off of your mat to do balance postures. Find a spot to stare at. This is called a drishti. Keep your eyes on that one spot. Even if you lose your balance, you want to keep your eyes still focused on that one spot. And then instead of thinking about what your body is doing, focus on your breathing, a nice, smooth, slow, even inhalation and exhalation. Good, let's exhale that leg down. We shift the weight to the right foot and then bend the left knee. Okay. Good. With the next exhale, release that leg from the front edge of your mat. Inhale, standing back bend, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, crow, and exhale right to the bottom of a push-up. Inhale, up dog, and exhale, push up back to downward facing dog. Okay, let's bring our feet to touch. We're going to inhale the right leg up and back, three-legged dog pose. Exhale, touch the knee as high up the arm as you can. Inhale that leg up and back. Repeat. See if you can get the knee even higher up on the arm or shoulder. Inhale the leg up and back, and even higher. Hold it there as you breathe. And again, notice if you are tensing or resisting, try and relax any unnecessary tension. Good. Inhale the leg up and back. Exhale, lunge. Inhale to low lunge. And then exhale to half triangle. Rock the hips over the knee. Straighten the right leg out. Flex the foot, point the toes and knee straight up. Okay. You should feel stretch back here. All right. And now we'll create a little flow. You can have your hands on the ground, or you might want to put your hands on two blocks, just depending on your proportions. Now, with the inhale, I'm going to rock forward and stretch the front of my left hip. As I exhale, I rock back and stretch the back of my right thigh. Again, neither of these stretches need to be maximum, just a gentle stretch in each, okay? And do a few more times. So this is 3. 4. And 5. Good. Let's hold this position. And if you're very flexible, you may take a full split here. But if you're taking a full split, I'd like you to fold forward over the straight front leg. This is the stretch we're going for right here. Good. Let's inhale back to our Vinyasa and exhale bottom of the push-up. Make your way to downward dog. From down dog, let's bring feet to touch. We're going to inhale that left leg up and back, 3-legged dog pose. Exhale the knee high up on the left arm. Inhale, lift it. Exhale even higher. And one more time. And exhale as high as you can get it. Hold and breathe. Good. Inhale that leg up and back. And exhale as you lunge. Inhale to low lunge. And then exhale, half triangle. Now you may have to reposition your ankle and your hips and whatnot. That's okay. Find the stretch back here. Gentle. And then we do a dynamic movement between these two postures. Not the full expression, but basically these two postures. Okay, so I inhale Vinyasa. I stretch here, the front of my right hip. I exhale, I rock back into Ardha Trikonasana, stretching the back of my left thigh. And I'm going to do that 4 more times. Good. Now this last time I'm going to hold and take 5 slow deep breaths right here. Good. We inhale, low lunge, and exhale, bottom of the push-up, making your way to downward dog. From down dog, let's take a deep breath, and as we exhale, we come down to tabletop. We'll take a look at a basic bird dog, which is that posture we did earlier. So feel free to repeat this where the toes stay on the ground, okay? If you'd like a little more, then you lift the leg and extend through the heel. So it's like you're trying to push your heel through the wall behind you. Inhale, push the heel through the back wall. Exhale, draw it back in. Now again, that action in itself is not so difficult. What is more difficult is not lifting or moving, lifting or dropping the hip as you lift the leg. So again, remember that cup of tea. Keep that in mind. Imagine it there and do that as you lift and lower the legs. Good. From there, we vinyasa or go straight back to downward facing dog. From downward dog, we'll inhale to the toes, and as we exhale, make our way to the front edge of the mat. Let's inhale all the way up to our standing back bend, and we'll exhale, hands to the heart. Okay, so let's take a look at Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana, first variation. If you have very tight hamstrings and you cannot straighten your leg very easily, then I recommend you repeat what we learned already, which is this, or maybe holding behind the knee. One thing about holding behind the knee is you can straighten the leg somewhat. Okay, if you're very tight, again, in the hamstrings, you can get a little bit of stretch there. If you'd like to go a little further, then you reach down, you grab the big toe or the outside edge of the foot, but then you need to stand up tall again. So that's very important. And you could even stay here like this. Okay, that might be one step more than being here. As you pull that leg up, it gives you a little deeper stretch. To come into the full expression of the pose, with an exhale, I take that leg and I straighten it. Now you notice that my back is basically straight, my leg is straight, and my arm is straight. And I'm pulling my foot up toward my face. If I were really flexible, my leg might actually go up at an angle, but I'm not particularly flexible in that direction. So this is about it for me. To release, I'll keep the leg lifted, inhale my arm up, and then exhale the leg and the arm simultaneously. Let's take a look at the other side. So again, I have several choices, and if it makes sense for me, I extend that leg. One way I know it doesn't make sense for me is when I do that, I feel a pain in my back. Okay? So if there's pain in your back as you do this, then I recommend you go ahead and bend that knee till the pain goes away. To release, inhale and exhale. Beautiful. Let's inhale, standing back bend, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, and exhale, bottom of the push-up. Make your way to down dog. Okay, from downward dog, let's bring our feet to touch. We inhale the right leg up and back. And as we exhale, we take the foot between the hands. Drop the back knee down, and then bring both hands inside of the foot and drop down as low as we can. And this is called the lizard pose. Okay, so I'm on my elbows. That might be further than you can go. You can stay on your hands or maybe put your elbows on a couple of blocks. And as I drop down, I begin to feel a stretch in my right thigh, the inside of that thigh. I also feel a stretch in the front of my left hip. These are the two areas that we're trying to open in today's class for some of the more advanced postures that we're going to attempt. Good. And then returning the hands to the ground, I inhale, the right leg up and back. Exhale as I lunge. And then I inhale up into crescent or high lunge. So in this posture, my front foot and knee point straight ahead. The knee lunges directly over the heel. Right thigh approaching parallel. Left hip forward and right hip back. Left leg straight, the heel pressing toward the ground directly behind the toes. And even though it's pressing down, it won't reach the ground if you're doing this properly. Even though our arms might get tired, we keep those arms up and back. Let's take a nice full breath and we exhale to the bottom of the push-up, making your way back to downward facing dog. From our down dog, we bring the feet to touch. We inhale the left leg up and back. As we exhale, we come to a lunge and then drop down into lizard pose. So this is an extreme low lunge. Good, returning the hands to the ground. I inhale the left leg up and back and exhale to a lunge. Inhale to a high lunge or crescent lunge. Let's take a full breath in and we exhale back to the bottom of our push-up, making our way back to downward facing dog. Okay, from our downward dog, let's take a nice deep breath in. As we exhale, we come to tabletop. We now take a look at the classic bird dog pose. So very similar to what we've already done. I inhale the right leg back, but this time I extend the left arm out in front. Exhale down, inhale, opposite arm and leg, lift, exhale. So side to side. And once again, I think about the cups of tea balancing. Now one on my pelvis and then also the other one between my shoulder blades. Again, this may seem very rudimentary and basic for some practitioners still, and don't worry, we'll get to more advanced variations in a little bit. Good. From there, make your way back to downward facing dog and take a few breaths there. From down dog, let's inhale to the toes. As we exhale, make our way to the front edge of the mat. Inhaling to standing back bend, and then we exhale, hands to our hips. Now, we'll take another look at Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana, and this time we'll look at the second variation of the pose. So once again, I have the option to do this with the knee straight or bent, and that just depends again on sort of where you are, injuries, how long you've been practicing, how flexible your body is naturally, things like that. So shifting weight to your left foot, you bend the right knee, and then again, holding the shin or reaching down, grabbing the toes and straightening the leg. Okay, so either way is fine. And then taking a nice deep breath with the next exhale, you bring the leg out to the right and extend the arm to the left, looking out over those fingertips if possible. Okay, now again, if you're doing this with the leg straight, it looks more like this.
Good. Inhale back to center and exhale, release the pose. Other side, same thing. Again, if you're wobbling the whole time, if you're in pain the whole time, anything like that, then you may not be making the best choice for yourself today. Good. We inhale back to center and exhale, release the pose. So inhale, standing back bend, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, crow, or maybe handstand this time, and exhale right to the bottom of a push-up. Inhale, up dog, cobra, and exhale, push-up, tabletop, or downward facing dog. Okay, from down dog, let's bring feet to touch. We'll inhale the right leg up and back. And we exhale into lizard pose, okay? Good. Now you could stay in lizard, but I'd like you to try this next thing and just see what happens, okay? So from lizard, you bring your hands back to the ground, directly under your shoulders. Then bending your arm, take your right leg, put it over your shoulder like a backpack, and then place the hand just outside of your right foot. Look up, and then try straightening your right leg, lifting the heel off the ground. So the leg is resting on the upper part of the right arm, and that allows me to lift that heel up. Now you'll notice my leg isn't all the way straight. That's because, again, I don't have particularly flexible hamstrings. Some people might be able to straighten the leg completely. Some people may not even be able to lift the heel off the ground. That's okay. Just trying to do so creates adaptive changes in your body that are good for your body. Okay, from there, we return our hands to the ground. We inhale that right leg up and back to three-legged dog. Exhale as we lunge. And then we inhale to crescent lunge, Ashtha Chandrasana. From there, I exhale and I come forward into Virabhadrasana 3, or Warrior 3 pose. So my left leg is just like three-legged dog. The foot is flexed, the toes, knee, and hip point down. Again, the leg is straight and lifted, but the hip is not lifted. My arms are framing my ears, parallel with the ground, chest parallel with the ground. Good. Take a deep breath. Exhale, bottom of your push-up, and make your way back to down dog. Good. Bringing the feet to touch, we inhale the left leg up and back, and we exhale to lizard. From lizard, I bring my hands to the ground, take my left shoulder over, my left leg over my left shoulder. I look up and then try and lift the heel as high as I can. Good, placing that heel down. Inhale the leg up and back, three-legged dog. Exhale, lunge. Inhale, crescent lunge. And then exhale, Warrior 3.
We'll take a nice deep breath and we exhale, bottom of the push-up, making our way back to downward facing dog. From down dog, we exhale to a tabletop position. Now this is where we maybe, again, want to stay with some of the simpler variations. So the bird dog, this was the first variation, this was the second, and this is the third. So you can continue working with any of those variations if you find them challenging. If you don't, then we add more challenge by tucking the toes and just lifting the knees up so that the shins are basically parallel with the ground and the knee and the heel are level with one another. So I'm not way up here. You see my knees are very deeply bent, but they're just not touching the ground, okay? Now from here, I try and continue doing the bird dog. Lift that leg, drop it down, inhale, lift, drop it down. Okay, much more challenging. Again, I'm still thinking about that cup of tea and trying to avoid lifting the hips. Now again, if you would like more challenge, you simply add the arm. Okay, and now it becomes much, much more challenging. You can see I'm losing my balance. Now I like that because when my body can't do something perfectly, it's learning by losing its balance and by having to adapt to something it can't do perfectly yet. So we don't want to try and do everything perfectly. We want to allow a little bit of imperfection, just not too much. Too much and we run the risk of injury, or we're actually learning things incorrectly because we're way ahead of where we should be and our body just can't learn or change that quickly. So small challenges in your practice, a little bit of discomfort, a little bit of challenge, that's what you're looking for. Okay, let's make our way back to down dog. And from down dog, we inhale to the toes. We exhale, front edge of the mat. Let's inhale all the way to standing. And we exhale, hands to heart or hips. Okay, we come to our last of the Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana variations, and we add a twist, literally. Okay, so shifting weight to my left foot, I bend the right knee, and again, I can simply hold the shin, but this time I'm going to do it with my left hand. Okay, and then from there, whether you're holding the foot or the shin, you take a nice deep breath, and as you exhale, you bring the right arm back and look back over the shoulder, adding a twist. If you plan to straighten the leg, then it would look like this. Deep breath in and exhale, twist. Good, inhale back to center and exhale as you release the leg. Let's do the other side. Inhale back to center and exhale, release. Let's inhale to standing back bend. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale, half lift, crow or handstand, and exhale, bottom of the push-up. All right, from there, let's go ahead and bring our feet to touch. Inhale the right leg up and back. Exhale, touch the knee high up on your right arm. Look forward, straighten the leg, and lift the back leg up. Good. Inhale the leg up and back. Exhale as you lunge. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale to warrior three. And to go a step further with the next exhale, bring your hands to the ground. Walk them toward the standing leg. Maybe even grab the ankle with one or both hands. And then point your left toes toward the ceiling for what we call standing splits. If you're a handstand person, you could jump up into a handstand here as well. You're not going to get the same stretch in your leg, but that may not be important to you. Working on your handstand might be more of a challenge. Okay, let's take a nice deep breath. We're going to exhale bottom of the push-up, and we make our way back to down dog. Okay, so challenging sequence of postures, right? And you may not have been able to do that arm balance. That's okay. Just doing the best that you can is what's important. So bring the feet to touch. We inhale left leg up and back. Exhale, leg to the arm. I lift the back leg if I can. Good. Inhale, leg up and back. Exhale, lunge. Inhale to high lunge. Exhale, warrior three. Take a deep breath and exhale to standing splits. Deep breath in and exhale bottom of the push-up. Beautiful. All right. From here, we'll come into a plank position, and we'll look at our last variation of bird dog. Again, repeat any of the variations we've learned. This last one is done from a plank position. You inhale, right leg up, exhale down, inhale, left leg up, exhale down. To add more, you lift the arm as well. And again, as you can see, my form is suffering. It's far from perfect, okay? And that means that my body is still benefiting from this. It's learning from this. It's growing from doing this variation. If I could do it perfectly, I would be doing what's called maintenance, okay? And maintenance is great, and we should all do maintenance, but growth is also very often important because most of us have areas in our bodies where we really are not at our full potential. Not even our full potential, well, not even at a healthy level with some parts in our body. A healthy level of flexibility, healthy level of strength. So forget even about full potential, just being healthy. That's really where we'd like to be. And that's really what these exercises will help us do, is just get to a healthy place with our bodies. Okay, from there, make your way back to downward dog. And from our down dog, let's inhale to the toes, look to the hands, and we exhale to the front edge of the mat. Good. From there, inhale up to standing. And then take your feet a little bit wider and exhale, fold forward. Bring your hands to the ground. Okay. Then bending your knees, take your legs like a backpack and put them over your shoulders if you're able to. Okay, so very awkward position you can see that I'm in. From there, I bring my hands behind my feet, my fingers point forward. I'm basically replacing my feet with my hands, okay? Then, as we did earlier, with one leg at a time, I'm going to try and lift my heel off the ground. Now, we've been stretching these muscles all class long, so they're about as flexible as they're going to get, okay? And you can see I still can't get my legs completely straight. So, again, I don't have to do that in order to do the pose. From here, I see if maybe I can lift both legs at the same time, and that's called Tittibhasana or Firefly pose, okay? So if that's something that you can do fairly easily, then a nice challenging thing you can do is from the front of your mat, you shoot back to a push-up and then take a vinyasa, okay? Okay. So let's inhale up to standing back bend to release that. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. And then we exhale right back onto our back. From there, let's bring the legs in, give them a little squeeze. And extending the arms, we'll drop the knees to the left as we look to the right. Let the breath be natural. Let's inhale knees back to center. We're going to exhale them off to the other side. Inhale, knees back to center, grabbing the soles of the feet for happy baby. And when you're ready to relax, coming into Shavasana for the next 6 minutes.